I started training with Chris Hero in a little gym in Middletown with his friend Adam and his friend Heartthrob Halsley. We did a show in Troy, Ohio at this little bitty gymnasium. I believe it was the promoter's niece or something like that. He carried out a chair, yelled at her, made her sit on the chair. It was like Chris's first match second match as the wife beater. We're in the back, and there's this guy named the Legend Larry Lane. He was teaching us arm bars and stuff like that. And so Chris had his chair that he's going to carry out as his gimmick as the wife beaters. Larry comes in. He's an old guy, probably in his 70s, grabs Chris's chair, gets buck naked, and sits on Chris's chair with his manhood laying across the seat of Chris's chair while we're sitting there tying up our boots, talking, and it was just the most awkward thing ever. It was my first time being in a wrestling locker room, but Chris Hero's very first chair of the wife beater gimmick had an old man's balls on it. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I guess you could relate that to, let's say, Balls Mahoney. He always came out with his chair. That was his gimmick. He held on the chair. And that was the same thing that Chris was doing very early on in his career with that character that he was playing, that he smartly changed his name and became Chris Hero. But at the time, he was a guy who came out with a chair. So just imagine, this is your weapon. This is your Jimmy Hart megaphone. This is your Mr. Fuji cane. This is your chair. And an old wrestler just plops his balls out and drops it on there. The fun part is, as a wrestler for many years, this is of zero surprise to me. It's just what happened. The first thing that comes to my mind is a show I did in Tijuana with Super Porky years ago, and he couldn't have been more nakeder sitting on a chair. And yes, I shouldn't be looking at him, but believe me, that's all he wanted, was for everybody to look at him. He was probably naked on that chair for a good 10 to 15 minutes. And here I am. Years later, shouldn't be talking about it, but of course you talk about it, especially when it relates to a call on your very own podcast. Hey, thanks for watching. That call was part of a whole podcast called Wrestling Anonymous. Listen to the whole thing weekly. Wherever you listen to your podcast, go subscribe. And while you're at it, subscribe right here on YouTube to Colt Cabana's channel. Thank you.